Rain fell softly over the small town that evening. The streets were quiet, shining under the streetlights, and the air smelled fresh after the storm. Inside a little animal shelter near the edge of town, a 7-year-old girl named Lily walked in with her mother. She was holding a small jar filled with coins. It wasn't much, but it was everything she had saved for months. Her dream was simple. She wanted to adopt a dog, not just any dog, but one that really needed love. The shelter was warm and filled with the sounds of barking and tails hitting against metal cages. The woman at the desk smiled when she saw the small girl. "Hello, sweetheart. Are you here to look at our dogs?" she asked kindly. Lily nodded quickly. "Yes, please. I want to give a home to a dog who doesn't have anyone." Her mother placed a gentle hand on her shoulder and smiled softly, proud of her daughter's big heart. The volunteer led them down a long hallway lined with kennels. Some dogs barked excitedly, jumping up and wagging their tails. Others just lay on their blankets, sleepy and calm. Lily stopped by each cage, reading the names written on the tags. She smiled at them all, but her eyes seemed to be searching for something. The volunteer noticed it and asked, "Do you have a type of dog in mind, honey? We have puppies, big dogs, small dogs, whatever you like." Lily shook her head and said something that made the woman pause. "Can I see the one no one wants?" For a moment, the room grew quiet. The volunteer looked at Lily's mother, unsure if she had heard correctly. "You mean, the one that's been here the longest?" Lily nodded. "Yes, the one nobody chooses." The volunteer's eyes softened. "We do have one like that," she said quietly. "But he's a big dog, not very friendly. He's had a hard life." Lily's mother gave her a worried glance, but the little girl only smiled. "That's okay. Maybe he's just lonely." They walked toward the back of the shelter where the lights were dimmer and the sound of barking faded. The air was cooler here and the cages were older. The volunteer stopped in front of a large kennel. Inside, lying on a thin blanket, was a German shepherd. His fur was dull and patchy, his eyes tired and sad. He didn't move when they approached. "This is Rex," the woman said softly. "He was rescued from a bad situation. He's older than most dogs here. People usually want puppies, so he's been waiting for a long time." Lily pressed her hands against the metal bars and stared at him. Rex lifted his head slowly, meeting her gaze. His eyes were dark and full of something heavy, something that looked like heartbreak. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Lily whispered, "Hi, Rex." The volunteer sighed. "He doesn't really respond to people. You can talk to him if you want, but don't be sad if he ignores you." But Lily didn't look sad. She crouched down, sitting cross-legged in front of the kennel, and began to talk softly, as if she were talking to an old friend. "My name is Lily. I have a warm bed and a big yard at home. I like to draw and eat peanut butter sandwiches. My mom says dogs like peanut butter too." Rex blinked, his ears twitching slightly. For the first time, his tail gave a tiny movement, just one small wag. The volunteer noticed and whispered, "That's the first time I've seen him do that." Lily smiled brightly. "See? He's listening." Her mother knelt beside her. "Sweetheart, maybe we should look at some of the other dogs too." But Lily shook her head firmly. "No, Mom, I think Rex is waiting for me." The volunteer hesitated. "Rex isn't easy, dear. He's afraid of people. He doesn't like loud noises. It took us months just to get him to eat properly. He might never trust again." Lily looked up and said in a soft, serious voice, "That's why he needs love more." There was something about the way she said it that made everyone in the room fall silent. Even her mother, who had come prepared to pick a smaller, easier dog, felt her heart melt a little. She could see how gently her daughter spoke, how patient she was. She saw the hope in her eyes and knew that sometimes love begins with a simple act of kindness. "All right," her mother said after a pause. "If this is really what you want, we'll fill out the papers." The volunteer smiled but looked unsure. "We'll need to do a careful check, and you'll have to sign a few extra forms since Rex needs special care." "Are you sure, sweetheart?" Lily nodded. "Yes, I promise I'll take care of him." As her mother filled out the adoption forms, Lily stayed near the kennel. She placed her tiny fingers through the bars, not too close, just enough for Rex to see she meant no harm. For a long while he didn't move. Then very slowly he lifted his nose and sniffed her hand. His eyes softened a little, and he rested his chin on his paws. The volunteer gasped softly. "He's never done that before," Lily giggled. "He's saying hello." When the paperwork was finally done, the volunteer unlocked the gate carefully. Rex didn't rush out. He stayed there, nervous but curious. Lily stood quietly, holding a leash in her hand. She didn't try to force him. She just knelt down and whispered, "It's okay, Rex, you can come with me." Rex looked at her for a long moment. Then slowly he took one hesitant step forward. The sound of his nails clicking on the concrete floor echoed softly. He stopped again, watching her closely. Lily stayed still, her eyes calm and kind. Finally, Rex took another step and another, until he was close enough for her to reach out and touch him. Her hand brushed gently against his fur, and instead of pulling away, Rex stood still. His body trembled slightly, but he didn't growl or bark. It was as if he remembered what kindness felt like. The volunteer wiped her eyes, whispering, "You did it, little one." Lily smiled proudly and looked up at her mother. "He's not scary, Mom, he's just sad." Her mother smiled through tears. "Maybe he just needed someone like you." When they walked out of the shelter, Rex followed slowly beside Lily, his leash loose, his steps uncertain. The rain had stopped, and the sun peeked through the clouds, painting the street in a golden glow. Lily looked down at him and whispered, "Don't worry, Rex. You're coming home." As they reached the car, Rex hesitated again, glancing back at the shelter as if afraid it was all a dream. Lily gently placed her hand on his head. "It's okay," she said. "You're safe now." For a brief moment, Rex leaned into her hand and closed his eyes. It was the smallest gesture, but it meant everything. The volunteers watched from the doorway, still amazed. They had seen many dogs come and go, but never like this. One of them turned to the other and said quietly, "I think she's the only one he's ever trusted." As the car drove away, the shelter lights flickered behind them. Inside, the empty kennel stood silent. For the first time in years, Rex had found a reason to step forward. And for Lily, it was the start of something beautiful, an unlikely friendship that would soon change both of their lives in ways no one could have imagined. The next morning, Lily woke up earlier than usual. Sunlight peeked through her curtains, and her first thought was Rex. She rushed out of bed, her hair messy, feet bare, running straight to the living room where Rex was lying near the front door. He opened his eyes slowly, confused for a moment, then relaxed when he saw her. "Good morning, Rex," Lily said softly, kneeling beside him. She held out a small bowl of dog food, the same one her mother had helped her prepare last night. "I made breakfast for you." Rex sniffed the bowl but didn't eat. He turned his head away and sighed quietly, curling up again. Lily frowned a little but didn't give up. "That's okay," she whispered. "Maybe you're not hungry yet." She placed the bowl near him and sat on the floor beside his bed, drawing quietly on her sketchpad while keeping him company. Her mother watched from the kitchen doorway, her heart full of mixed emotions. She wasn't sure if this was going to work. Rex looked so broken, so lost, as if he didn't belong anywhere. But when she saw her daughter sitting patiently beside him, she decided not to say anything. Sometimes love didn't need words, it needed time. The first few days were hard. Rex didn't wag his tail. He didn't bark or play. He barely ate and preferred staying outside even when it rained. He was polite, gentle but distant, like a soul still trapped in memories of hurt. Lily tried everything she could think of. She read books aloud near him, hoping he'd like her voice. She sang softly when she cleaned her room. At night, before bed, she'd whisper, "Good night, Rex, I'll see you tomorrow." Her mother thought Rex might never change, but Lily's hope was quiet and strong. She believed that deep down, every living being had a heart that could heal if someone cared enough. One afternoon, Lily came home from school holding a new toy, a small stuffed bear with floppy ears. She placed it near Rex's bed. "This is for you," she said gently. "He can keep you company when I'm gone." Rex sniffed the toy, unsure what to do with it. But that night, when Lily peeked into the living room, she smiled wide. Rex was sleeping with one paw over the little bear. It was the first small sign that something inside him was beginning to trust again. The days turned into weeks. Slowly, Rex began following Lily around the house, keeping a careful distance but never losing sight of her. If she went to the garden, he sat by the steps. If she watched TV, he lay near the couch. When strangers visited, he positioned himself between Lily and them, quiet but watchful, protective in his own way. One weekend, Lily's mother decided to take them to the park. "Maybe Rex will like the open space," she said. Lily nodded eagerly. He'll love it. At the park, children played, dogs barked, and the sun shone warmly over the green grass. Lily held Rex's leash gently, walking slowly beside him. He seemed unsure at first, keeping his head low, sniffing carefully at every sound and scent. But then a breeze rustled the trees and something changed. For the first time, Rex lifted his head high, his nose twitching as he felt the fresh air. Lily laughed softly. See, Rex? It's nice here. A ball rolled toward them from a group of kids playing nearby. It bumped gently against Rex's paw. For a moment, he froze. Then, surprising everyone, he pushed it back with his nose. The kids cheered and Lily clapped happily. Good boy, Rex, she said, her eyes shining. That small moment became the turning point. From then on, Rex started to show bits of the dog he used to be. He wagged his tail more often. He ate his meals without hesitation. Sometimes when Lily laughed, Rex would tilt his head, almost as if he was smiling too. Still, there were nights when he woke up trembling, haunted by something only he remembered. During thunderstorms, he hid under the table, shaking from fear. One such night, heavy rain poured outside and thunder roared loudly. Lily woke to the sound of Rex whining. She grabbed her blanket and tiptoed to the living room. Rex was curled in a corner, breathing fast, his eyes wide. Lily slowly sat beside him and wrapped the blanket around both of them. It's okay, she whispered. You're safe. No one will hurt you. He looked at her, uncertain at first, then slowly rested his head on her lap. The storm continued outside, but in that quiet corner something beautiful happened. Rex finally closed his eyes, trusting her completely. When her mother found them in the morning, Lily was asleep, leaning against Rex, and Rex was still resting peacefully beside her. The sight made her mother smile with tears in her eyes. She finally realized her daughter's patience had done what no training or medicine could. She had given Rex back his heart. From that day on, Rex followed Lily everywhere. When she packed her school bag, he sat by the door waiting. When she returned in the afternoon, he ran to greet her, tail wagging. He even learned to fetch her shoes and drop them gently at her feet, earning a giggle and a kiss on the head each time, Lily. And Rex became known in their neighborhood as the inseparable pair. People often stopped on the street to watch them walk together, a small girl with a big German shepherd who looked like her shadow. Children waved. Adults smiled. Everyone could see that this wasn't just a pet and owner. It was a bond built on quiet love. One day, the shelter volunteer Martha came to visit. When she saw Rex sitting proudly beside Lily, her jaw dropped. I can't believe this is the same dog, she said softly. He looks so happy now. Lily smiled, patting Rex's head. He just needed a friend, she said simply. Martha knelt and scratched Rex's ears. You gave him something special, Lily. You gave him hope. The little girl beamed. He gave me hope too, she said. That evening, as the sun set, Lily sat on the porch with Rex lying beside her. The world was quiet except for the sound of crickets and the gentle wind. She leaned her head on his shoulder and whispered, You see, Rex? I told you we'd be friends. Rex let out a soft sigh and pressed closer to her, his tail thumping lightly on the porch floor. For the first time in years, he wasn't the unloved dog. He had a home, a family, and someone who believed in him completely. What no one knew then was that this friendship would soon grow even stronger, because life had one more test waiting for them. One that would show the whole world how deep the love between a little girl and her once broken dog could go. Weeks passed peacefully after that stormy night. Rex had changed so much that even Lily's mother often stopped and stared in amazement. The same dog who once refused to eat or trust anyone now followed Lily like her shadow. He waited by the window every morning when she went to school and ran to the gate when she came back. It was as if Rex had decided that his life's only purpose was to keep that little girl safe. One Saturday morning, Lily woke up to find Rex lying at the foot of her bed. She smiled and rubbed his ears. You're getting brave, aren't you? She said softly. It had taken him weeks to even step inside her room. Now he seemed completely at peace there. The sunlight shone through the curtains, falling across his fur, which looked much healthier now. Lily brushed him every day, and sometimes she even talked to him as if he could understand every word. Mom says we'll go for a walk later, she whispered. You'll love the woods. It's quiet there. That afternoon, Lily, her mother, and Rex walked down a narrow path surrounded by tall trees. The air smelled of pine and wet leaves. Birds sang overhead and Rex's ears twitched at every sound. Lily laughed when he chased a falling leaf, jumping playfully like a puppy again. Her mother took a picture on her phone and said softly, "He looks happy now." Lily smiled proudly. He's the best dog in the world. But their peace didn't last long. As they walked deeper into the woods, a sudden clap of thunder echoed in the distance. The weather had changed faster than expected. Dark clouds gathered and the wind grew colder. Rex froze for a moment, his body tense. Lily noticed immediately. "It's okay, Rex," she said, touching his side gently. "It's just thunder. I'm here." He looked at her and seemed to relax slightly, though his eyes still darted around nervously. Her mother checked her phone. "We should go back before it rains," she said. As they turned around, a loud rumble came from behind them. It wasn't thunder this time. It was a large branch breaking off a tree and crashing to the ground. Startled, Rex barked loudly and jumped in front of Lily. The sound echoed through the forest, but Rex didn't move until the noise faded. Lily hugged his neck tightly, whispering, "You're my brave boy." That evening, when they got home, Lily drew a picture of Rex standing tall in the forest, protecting her. She taped it to the fridge with the words, "My hero." Her mother smiled when she saw it. "That's true," she said. "He really is your hero." Over the next few days, Lily noticed that Rex became even more protective. If someone knocked on the door, he would stand between Lily and the entrance. When she played in the yard, he stayed close, always alert. But there was also something gentler about him now. When she sat down to do her homework, he would rest his head on her lap. When she read stories, he listened quietly, his eyes calm and content. One afternoon, Lily came home from school looking sad. Her mother asked, "What happened, sweetheart?" "Some kids at school laughed at me," Lily said softly. "They said Rex is old and ugly." Her mother sighed. "Kids can be unkind sometimes, but you know what matters?" Lily looked up. "What?" "That Rex loves you no matter what anyone says," her mother replied. "And love is the most beautiful thing in the world." Rex walked over as if he understood every word, placing his head in Lily's lap. She smiled weakly and hugged him tight. "You're not ugly, Rex, you're perfect." That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She looked out the window, thinking about what the kids had said. Then she saw Rex lying near her door, keeping watch as always. Her heart filled with warmth. "You're my best friend," she whispered. The next morning, she decided to do something special for him. After breakfast, she helped her mother make a new collar using soft leather and shiny metal letters that spelled Rex. She placed it around his neck and said, "Now everyone will know your name." Rex wagged his tail proudly, as if he understood the importance of the moment. Later that day, a new family moved into the neighborhood. They had a small boy, maybe 5 years old, who was afraid of dogs. The first time he saw Rex, he hid behind his mother, but Rex, sensing his fear, sat down quietly and didn't move. He just wagged his tail slowly, keeping a safe distance. The little boy peeked out and watched. After a few minutes, he whispered, "He's not scary." Lily smiled and said, "He's the kindest dog ever." Day by day, Rex became a friend to everyone around. Neighbors who once avoided big dogs started waving when they saw him. The mailman even gave him treats. The shelter that had once called him unadoptable posted an update on their website. "Rex, our once-forgotten shepherd, has found his forever home." The post went viral in the small town. People started sending messages saying how touched they were by the story of a little girl and the dog no one wanted. But behind all that joy, Rex still carried small pieces of his old fear. Whenever fireworks went off at night, he would hide under Lily's bed. One evening, when a nearby celebration started, the loud pops made him tremble again. Lily crawled under the bed beside him, holding his paw. "It's just fireworks, Rex. I promise they'll stop soon." Her calm voice soothed him until he finally relaxed. Her mother found them like that. Lily lying beside Rex, both fast asleep. She took a quiet picture, realizing again how deep their connection had grown. As the seasons changed, their bond only grew stronger. When winter came, Rex loved lying by the fireplace while Lily read him stories about brave knights and loyal dogs. In spring, they went to the park every weekend. Rex would fetch sticks and bring them back proudly, tail wagging like he was a puppy again. People often stopped to watch them, and more than one stranger said, "That dog must really love her." But it wasn't just love, it was gratitude. Rex had once lived in silence and fear, forgotten by the world. Now he had a name that was said with affection every day. He had gentle hands that brushed his fur and soft voices that called him family. One evening, as Lily sat on the porch doing her homework, she looked at Rex and said, "You know, when I first saw you, everyone said you were broken. But you were never broken, Rex. You were just waiting for someone to see you." Rex looked at her, his eyes full of something deep, something words couldn't describe. He leaned forward and rested his head on her knee. She laughed and scratched behind his ear. "See? I knew you could smile." Her mother watched from inside, feeling a lump in her throat. She had never believed that one small act of kindness, a child's stubborn wish to help the unwanted dog, could change so many lives. But fate had one more way to test their friendship, one more moment that would show everyone just how strong their bond had become. Because soon Rex would get a chance to prove, not just with his heart, but with his courage, that love truly has the power to heal everything. One bright spring morning, Lily and her mother were getting ready for the school fair. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and the air was full of excitement. Lily was helping her mother pack some homemade cupcakes while Rex sat near the door, watching every move. He wagged his tail when Lily looked at him. "You can't come today, boy," she said softly. "Dogs aren't allowed at the fair, but I'll bring you a treat when I come back." Rex tilted his head as if he understood. When Lily left, he sat by the window like he always did, watching her walk down the street with her backpack bouncing behind her. Her laughter faded in the distance, but Rex stayed there, guarding her home as usual. Hours passed quietly. The fair was full of colors and music, but at home, Rex started to grow uneasy. He paced around the house, sniffing near the door. Something in the air made him restless. He looked out the window again and whined softly. That afternoon, as the fair ended, dark clouds began to cover the sky. Lily's mother packed up quickly, but the road home was long, and she had to stop by the store. Lily walked ahead with her friend Emma, taking the shortcut through the neighborhood park. The wind grew stronger and the sky darkened quickly. Suddenly, from behind the bushes, a stray dog appeared. It was big, dirty, and scared. It barked loudly, startled by the thunder. Emma screamed and ran, but Lily froze. She didn't want to move or make the stray angrier. Her heart raced as she slowly stepped back. The dog growled, its fur standing up, frightened more than fierce. Just then, from down the road, a familiar bark echoed. Lily turned and gasped. Rex was running toward her at full speed. No one knew how he had escaped the house. Maybe he had jumped the fence. Maybe he had followed her scent, but he was there, his eyes sharp and his body tense. He stopped between Lily and the stray dog, his tail stiff and ears up. The stray barked again, but Rex didn't move. He stood tall, calm, and brave. It was as if he was saying, "You'll go through me first." For a moment, the world went silent except for the sound of the wind and thunder. Then the stray backed away slowly, whimpering. It turned and ran toward the other side of the park. Rex didn't chase it. He just stayed where he was until it was gone. Lily's knees went weak and she ran to him, throwing her arms around his neck. "You saved me," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. Rex nuzzled her shoulder gently as if to say, "You're safe now." When her mother arrived a few minutes later, out of breath and worried, she saw the two of them sitting together on the grass. Lily's arms were still wrapped around Rex and his head rested protectively against her chest. Her mother's heart swelled with both fear and gratitude. "Oh, Rex," she said softly, kneeling beside them. "You really are her guardian." They walked home together, Rex leading the way proudly. His fur was wet from the rain, but his steps were firm and sure. That night, Lily refused to sleep in her room alone. She made a small bed beside hers for Rex, laying down a soft blanket and his favorite toy. "You're my hero," she said before turning off the light. Rex gave a soft huff, closed his eyes, and drifted into sleep beside her. The next morning, the story had already spread through the neighborhood. Emma had told everyone about how Rex had protected Lily in the park. Neighbors came by to see him, bringing treats and pats on the head. "What a brave boy," one of them said. "You're lucky to have him, Lily." The local shelter where Rex had once lived heard about it too. They called Lily's mother and asked if they could write about Rex's story to inspire others. Soon the shelter's social media post went viral. It showed a photo of Lily hugging Rex with the caption, "Once called unadoptable, now a hero." Messages started flooding in from people all over town and even from other cities. Some wrote about how they were now thinking of adopting older dogs instead of puppies. Others said Lily's kindness reminded them that love can heal anything. The shelter even started a new project in Rex's honor, a small section called Second Chances, dedicated to older dogs who were waiting for homes. When Lily's mother showed her the post, Lily smiled shyly. "I didn't do anything," she said. "Rex did everything." Her mother hugged her. "No, sweetheart. You saw what others didn't. You gave him a chance to be who he really is." A few days later, the local newspaper visited their home to take pictures. Rex sat proudly beside Lily as the photographer took their photo for an article titled, "The Little Girl Who Believed in an Unloved Dog." That weekend, the shelter invited them to an adoption event. The hall was decorated with balloons and banners that read, "Love changes everything." People clapped when Lily and Rex walked in. The shelter manager gave Lily a small medal in the shape of a paw print. "This is for you," she said kindly, "for showing us what true compassion looks like." Lily blushed and looked down at Rex. "It's for him too," she said. "He's the brave one." The audience laughed softly and applauded again. Then the manager announced something that surprised everyone. "We are naming our new kennel section Rex's Corner in honor of this wonderful dog who taught us that every animal deserves a second chance." Lily's eyes filled with tears. She knelt beside Rex and whispered, "You did it, Rex. You're helping other dogs now." As they left the event, the sun was setting behind them, painting the sky in orange and pink. Lily held Rex's leash gently and they walked side by side down the quiet road. Strangers waved from passing cars, recognizing them from the newspaper. But Lily didn't care about fame or praise. All she cared about was the warm presence beside her, the dog who had once been forgotten but was now the heart of her world. That night, while Lily brushed Rex's fur, she said softly, "You know, Rex, when I first saw you, I thought I was the one helping you. But maybe you were the one helping me all along." Rex looked at her with those wise eyes full of love and peace. He leaned his head against her knee and sighed deeply as if to agree. Her mother stood by the door smiling quietly. She had watched her daughter grow from a little girl into someone who understood compassion in its purest form, all because of a dog that no one else wanted. The house was quiet that evening. The smell of dinner filled the air. The windows glowed warmly, and outside the stars began to appear one by one. Inside that small, happy home, Lily and Rex sat together, their bond unbreakable, a story of trust, love, and the magic that happens when a heart chooses kindness over perfection. And somewhere, back at the shelter, a volunteer was showing a new family around. She pointed to a shy old dog sitting alone and said gently, "You see that one? Don't overlook him. Sometimes the ones no one wants are the ones who will love you the most." That was Rex's gift to the world. Not just his courage, but the message his life carried. He had once been called the most unloved dog. Now he was proof that love, no matter how small, can turn the saddest soul into a hero. A full year passed since the day Lily brought Rex home from the shelter. The world around them had changed, but their friendship stayed strong. The once sad and lonely German shepherd was now full of life. His fur shone in the sunlight and his eyes sparkled whenever he looked at Lily. Every morning he walked her to the school bus and waited by the gate until she returned. Everyone in town knew about the brave dog who had saved a little girl, and they always smiled when they saw them together. Spring turned into summer, and the shelter invited Lily and her mother to a special event. It was an adoption day for older dogs, and the staff wanted Rex to be there as a guest of honor. Lily felt proud as she brushed Rex's fur that morning. "You have to look handsome today," she said, giggling. "You're going to inspire other people." Rex wagged his tail and barked softly as if to say he understood. When they arrived at the shelter, everything looked bright and cheerful. There were colorful balloons, music playing, and children laughing as they met the dogs. But among all the joy, Lily noticed one kennel in the corner. Inside was a small brown dog with one eye and a limp. People walked past him without stopping. Lily's heart ached. She looked at her mother and said quietly, "That one looks like Rex did when we first met." Her mother nodded gently. "Maybe he's waiting for his own Lily." Lily knelt beside the cage and whispered softly, "Don't worry. Someone will see you. I promise." The little dog wagged his tail weakly and Lily smiled. When the event started, the shelter manager took the microphone. "1 year ago," she said, "a little girl walked into our shelter and asked for the dog no one wanted. Today, That dog Rex has become a symbol of hope." Everyone clapped and Lily's cheeks turned pink. She wasn't used to attention, but she smiled proudly. The manager continued. "Because of Rex's story, many older dogs have found homes this year. To honor him, we have built a new area for them. We call it Rex's Corner." Behind the stage was a new section with clean kennels, soft blankets, and a small garden where the dogs could play. Above the entrance was a wooden sign carved with the words Rex's Corner, where second chances begin. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She hugged Rex tightly, whispering, "Look, Rex, that's your name. You helped so many dogs." Rex leaned his head against her shoulder, calm and proud. After the event, something unexpected happened. The shelter manager walked up to them, holding a small folder. "Lily," she said kindly, "there's something I think you should know." She handed Lily's mother an old file. It was Rex's adoption record. Inside were a few faded papers and a letter written in shaky handwriting. "This was found in our old office storage last month," the manager explained. "It's from Rex's previous owner." Lily's mother hesitated before reading it aloud. The letter said that the man who once owned Rex had fallen sick and couldn't take care of him anymore. He wrote, "He was my only friend. If someone ever adopts him, please tell them to love him for me." The letter ended with a small note that the man had left a donation for the shelter. Lily's mother looked at the manager, surprised. "A donation?" The manager nodded. "Yes, we used that money to help build Rex's Corner. In a way, his first owner also helped other dogs." Lily held Rex close, tears running down her cheeks. "He wasn't unloved after all," she whispered. "Someone loved him first, and now everyone does." Rex licked her hand as if to comfort her. Later that evening, as the sun began to set, Lily and her mother walked home with Rex trotting happily beside them. The streets glowed with golden light and people waved as they passed. An old man from the bakery stepped outside and handed Lily a bag of dog biscuits. "For your hero," he said with a smile. At home, Lily placed the medal from the shelter on the shelf beside her favorite books. "This belongs to you, Rex," she said softly. "You've changed so many lives." That night she couldn't sleep right away. She sat by the window looking at the stars and Rex lay beside her. "You know, Rex," she said, "you showed me that love isn't about who's perfect. It's about who stays." Rex gave a small woof, his tail thumping gently on the floor. Weeks later, something beautiful began happening around town. More people started visiting the shelter. Families adopted older dogs, giving them warm homes. Children wrote letters thanking Lily and Rex for inspiring them. Even the school organized a kindness week, where students learned about caring for animals. One afternoon, a little boy came to Lily's house with his mother. In his arms was the small brown dog with one eye that Lily had seen at the event. "We adopted him," the boy said happily. "His name is Lucky now." Lily's eyes lit up. She bent down and patted the dog gently. "I knew someone would love you," she said. The boy smiled shyly. "Mom said it's because of you and Rex." After they left, Lily hugged Rex tightly. "See, you started a chain of kindness. You're changing the world one heart at a time." As the months passed, Rex grew older, but he stayed full of life. He still loved walks in the park, peanut butter treats, and watching the sunset with Lily. Sometimes he limped a little, but Lily didn't mind. She always said, "Heroes don't need to be fast. They just need to keep loving." On the anniversary of his adoption, the shelter invited them again. There was a big picture of Rex and Lily on the wall, and underneath it, a quote said, "Love can heal even the most broken heart." Lily's mother gave a short speech, her voice trembling with emotion. "When my daughter asked for the dog no one wanted, I was afraid. I thought it would be too hard. But I was wrong. That dog taught us more about love, patience, and kindness than we could have ever imagined." People clapped, and Lily felt her eyes fill with tears again. She looked at Rex, who sat proudly by her side wearing his red collar. He seemed to know that all of this was because of him. That evening, after the event, they walked home quietly. The sun dipped below the hills, painting the sky in soft orange and pink colors. Lily held Rex's leash in one hand and a small flower in the other. She stopped for a moment, picked up the flower, and placed it gently on Rex's head. "You're my miracle, Rex," she whispered. "You turned sadness into hope." He looked at her with calm eyes, as if to say he understood every word. Years later, people in the town still talked about the little girl and her dog, the one who was once called unloved but became a symbol of compassion. The shelter's Rex's Corner continued to save hundreds of dogs, and on its entrance wall, there hung a simple plaque that read, "Dedicated to the dog who taught us that every life deserves love." Even after Lily grew older, she often visited the shelter to volunteer. Whenever a shy or scared dog arrived, she would sit quietly near it and whisper, "It's okay. Someone will see you just like I saw Rex." And somewhere in the gentle wind that passed through the shelter's garden, it always felt like Rex's spirit was still there, watching, guarding, and reminding everyone that love, once given, never truly fades away, because the story of one little girl and one unloved German shepherd had become more than a memory. It had become a lesson for the world, that kindness, no matter how small, can change not just a life, but many lives forever.